Good morning, students. Now we all are welcome to Gyan Niketan, and now we are going to study the biology of class 11, and we have already started. In last video we started chapter 1, and the unit is the diversity in the living world, and the chapter 1 is the living world. So in this topic we were learning that how to know that whether something is alive or not, or what is living. So to define what is living, it is very difficult, but on the basis of the distinct characteristics of the living beings, we can differentiate whether something is alive or not. So that's why we should first of all study the different characteristics of living organisms, and if that characteristics are present, so that will be the living. If these characteristics are not present, it means that objects may be non-living. So what is living? It will be difficult to define in one sentence, but on the basis of the various characteristics we can decide whether something is alive or not. So now we are going to start the characteristics of living organisms. In our book, first characteristic given that all living organisms grow. It means the growth and development is one of the characteristics of living organisms. Very good. So now, first of all, what is growth? We should know. Growth is the irreversible, permanent change in size, increase in the size of cell, increase in the body of organs or whole organism. So it is the irreversible, permanent increase in the size of cell or whole organism, and this growth actually include the two characteristics. One is the increase in the mass increases, and another one is the increase in the how growth occurs in the living organisms, whether it is unicellular or it is multicellular. So in the multicellular organisms, there will be the three steps. There will be the three steps, that is the cell division, then cell enlargement, and then cell differentiation. In unicellular organisms also the growth occurs by cell division. So these are the means the first of all a cell increases in size, and then when a cell reaches to its maximum position, it divides to form the daughter cells, and again the cell enlargement occurs, means the size of the cell increases, and finally is the cell differentiation. So cell differentiation means now the cell changes to forms the different kinds of tissues, then different tissues forms the organs and organ systems. So these are the processes of the growth in living organisms. No doubt there are in plants the growth is indefinite, because in the plants the meristematic tissue forms, and the cells of meristematic tissue are always in the state of division. So growth can occur whole life. So in the plants, cell division or the growth occurs continuously throughout their lifespan, but in the animal, the growth is stopped after a certain period, or growth stop after a certain age. However, some cells of the animal body also continue to divide to replace the lost cells due to injury or any problem. So cell division occurs in animal also to replace the lost cell, but the growth is definite, that of after a certain period of time or a certain age, the growth in animals is stopped. But in the plants, due to the presence of this meristematic tissue, the cells of meristematic tissue have the capacity to always divide, so growth continue whole life. So we can say that in the plants the growth is indefinite, while in the animals the growth is definite. Second thing is that if we consider growth, if we consider that increase in mass, if we consider only that the increase in mass is the criteria for the growth, so we can say that in non-living objects also the growth can occur, because the boulder, mountain or sand mounds can also increase in size. So if we consider this criteria only, that increase in mass is the growth, so in that condition non-living objects can also grow. But what is the difference then? Then why I wrote this point also? So actually there is the basic difference between this growth of the living and non-living objects, because this type of growth in non-living objects occurs due to the accumulation of materials from outside, while in the living organisms growth occurs from inside. In the living organisms, first nutrition occurs, and when the after digestion or after this process that the nutrients reaches to the cells. When the nutrients reaches to the cells, the amount of protoplasm increases. As the amount of protoplasm increases, the size of the cell increases. And when the size of the cell reaches to its maximum size, now it divides. It divides to form the daughter cells. Again that daughter cells enlarge and again it divides, so number of cells gradually increases, and as the number of cells increases, size of the body increases. So there is the basic difference in the growth of these living and non-living objects. So if we consider only mass, in that condition we can say that the non-living objects can also grow, but that kind of growth will be from outside, not from the inside. But in the living organisms, growth is always from inside due to the nutrients, due to the increase in the amount of protoplasm in the cells. And as the amount of protoplasm increases, the size of the cell increases. When the cell reaches to its maximum size, now it divides. So the number of cells increases. And as the number of cells increases, size of the body also increases. So growth is internal. So growth, no doubt, it is the characteristics of living organisms, but only growth cannot be the defining property for the living beings. But while saying about the growth is the characteristics of living organisms, in that condition we should explain also that if we consider only mass, in that condition non-living objects can also show the growth. So while saying this point that growth is the characteristics of living organisms, we must explain this growth, that in which condition it will be applicable for all living organisms. So growth, no doubt, but you can say that there is the living organisms grow, but the dead organisms do not grow. There is no growth. So that's why while taking this point as the characteristics, we must explain that in which condition that this point is applicable for all living organisms. Thank you.